pendiam ini ke channel Banwan Rak Kubor Baman Lakasni.
Right, the Honorable Speaker was pleased to call this meeting of the High Power Committee, and I think we also expected that there will be a meeting of the High Power Committee. The High Power Committee constituted to look at, the various decisions that was taken up, rather various decisions that was taken in the run-up for construction of this new assembly building. Now, I think we all want the assembly building to be completed, and this is precisely the reason why there has been quite a number of initiatives. If you recollect, the preceding years, number of initiatives to finally freeze upon the location where the new assembly building should come up, really evaded us for quite a long time, and therefore a decision was made wherein the government decided to reallot that same place which was initially allotted for the construction of this new assembly building, measuring up to around 80 acres of land in South India. Now, the whole process which was embarked upon needed certain decisions of the High Power Committee pertaining to the requirement of the assembly, keeping in mind the various aspects of how the spaces are utilized in an assembly secretariat, including the very assembly chamber itself, how the design should be, because we should remember one thing, that this particular assembly building we are constructing it for the state. It will stand there for generations. We wanted that the assembly building should be completed. Unfortunately, the mishap that has happened has definitely woken us up as to how things are happening. There has been instances of lots of issues being flagged before the government in respect to the quality of works being under question in respect of various projects being implemented in the state. We never expected that similar situation will confront us while the construction work of the new assembly building was on. But unfortunately, it has happened. We definitely feel, I should say, it's a matter, probably, I must say, officials and then people who are vested with the responsibility of monitoring the work, whether they are vulnerable to any manipulation. All these things are required to be understood, and therefore, a system which itself is capable of deterring is needed. But however, this part seems to have been missing. If you recollect, on the day when after the High Power Committee met, I have also shared with the media that we have put in place the felt need of ensuring that there should be an independent quality monitoring team who should be able to, as the work progresses, will be able to really monitor the work both in terms of progress, so there is no scope for time overrun and therefore cost escalation, and at the same time ensuring that the quality of the work is ensured as per the benchmark incorporated in the DPR. Now that this something which should have happened has happened. The law of the land should be at the cost of the state's interest. Therefore, even when we proceed further now, there has to be transparency, and all the procedure that is required to be adopted by PWD building has to be in conformity with the CVC guidelines. From the day one, they embark upon implementation of the program. Now, as they started initiating the implementation, the department has gone ahead with the appointment of design and consultants, architectural consultants. Now, what are those procedures, whether the CVC guidelines have been followed or not? Because here the question is whether there was a problem with the design or whether in the quality of the work. We cannot jump into conclusion unless we have the report before us. which should be an outcome of the appropriate technical assessment to verify as to what has gone wrong. Okay, now here I'm afraid because it's very complex. It's very complex. You also will have to look at that's why where certain award of capital works, consultancy, sanction of funds without authority, failure to follow the transparency requirements and the CVC guidelines in awarding the contract for architectural consultancy and construction works by one of the organizations, Government of India, was under the scrutiny for irregularities and alleged instances of corruption in the process. Now, in this work, the associated firms which were provided with architectural consultancy and construction work also involves one of the firms called MS Design and Associates, Noida. Okay. And these are the notices which were indicative of the inputs which are supposed to be provided to the CBI by the agency concerned who awarded the work for architectural consultancy and construction work to these different firms. It's not just one firm, there are quite a number of firms, but this particular notice is pertaining to the award of contract for architectural consultancy and construction work by ESI Corporation for certain works, as I have said,